Broadcasting from Silicon Valley, California, this is Conversations with Jennylyn.
You're watching Conversations with Jennylyn, and as I continue my COVID-19 series, I have another fascinating guest for you, one of Trinidad and Tobago's top entrepreneurs, Angela Leloy. Angela, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us.
Well, happy to be here.
Well, welcome. And I decided to do this series of interviews because people were doubting some of what they were getting from mainstream media. So I thought it would be a great idea to go around the world and speak with different people about their COVID-19 experience, how it's affecting them, their jobs and their families. And I just had to include you because you are such a wise woman that I thought for sure you will have some fascinating facts to share with us. So tell us, how has COVID-19, first of all, let's share with my viewers your background and what you do in Trinidad.
Okay, well, I currently run Aegis Business Solutions Limited, which is the first outsourcing company that was formed about almost 20 years ago. We were formed in 2001. And we do accounting outsourcing, payroll outsourcing, HR outsourcing. We do taxes for people. We do corporate secretarial services, which includes taking minutes, keeping them statutorily correct, doing work permits. So we really are what I consider a full one-stop shop in Trinidad and Tobago for anybody trying to set a business, be you a foreigner coming in or whether you're a local company. I also own and run Evanis Recruiting Limited, which in fact is celebrating its 50th year today.
Oh, congratulations.
Not that I had it from its 50th year, but they were founders of Temporary Recruiting in Trinidad and Tobago. I bought that company maybe about 7 years ago. And then I also run and own another company called Caribbean Resourcing Solutions Limited, another recruiting company that's been around 25 years, but specializing in IT, recruiting, and oil and gas. So that's what I do on the business side. My background was originally, I was with Pricewaterhouse as a partner. I withdrew from the partnership to form Aegis Business Solutions Limited. I do sit on a couple of public companies and local company boards. I also involved in NGOs. I run 2 NGOs. I sit on about 4 NGOs. I also sit on the Finance Council for the Archdiocese of
Wow.
And I am the immediate past president of the Trinidad and Tobago Coalition of Services Industries, which is an association of associations that deal with the service industry in Trinidad and Tobago. I think that's enough about me.
Wow. Wow, my head is spinning. So impressive, Angela. My hat off to you. I admire strong, successful women such as yourself, which is why I'm so grateful for the privilege of sharing you with my friends and my viewers. So how is your business being affected by COVID-19, the infamous invisible tormentor?
Well, to be quite honest, I think many companies are affected, some more than others.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that these services we offer are still services that everybody needs. However, for example, if we do payrolls, a lot of companies have laid off people. So, of course, the amount of work they want is less. People who outsource accounting, outsourcing may say, well, can I get a better price? Because things, so at the end of the day, everybody is going to look at their own business, see how they are affected and to what extent they can do some of it themselves, which before they most probably didn't do it. But all in all, I think, yes, we are projecting that we are going to see a drop in revenue. However, I don't think it's the end of the world. The most important thing is really to keep the team together. And we have been doing that, keeping them in touch with what's going on, explain to them where our results are, where we project our results to be. We certainly have taken action in terms of cost, in terms of negotiating better rentals, negotiating better loan financing. So we've really looked at a lot of things. I mean, we also had to look at looking at salary cuts as opposed to laying off anybody, because the intent is right to keep everybody in. But we have been fairly transparent in doing that process. We had a managers meeting to discuss how we were going to approach it. We had a staff meeting which we presented them all the facts in terms of where we are, where we see ourselves. And we had questions and answers. We also explained to them how the company can help them. I mean, in a time like this, your mental state may not be great. We're there to give EAP. We've also there helping them with what assistance the government is giving for anybody who, let's say, salary is below $10,000 and they may have gotten a cut, how they can go and access it. So we're helping our staff to do that. We also do have within the organization our own credit union. So our credit union, again, is looking to see how we do deferral of payments and to give people loans. And we also have the charity committee within the organization. So again, there we are looking at our charity committee. How do we help our own people if they are in need? So those that will always be more vulnerable than others. So in a nutshell, that's basically what it is. And I think my feedback, because what happened after we had that meeting, we also, we did FAQs to answer questions. First thing people come, am I being retrenched? And the answer is, this is why we're doing what we're doing, so we could prevent that. Then each of the respective practice leaders within their department had to make sure they spoke to every staff member to understand what was affecting them, if any. And the feedback we really got, I mean, the staff really did, the managers did a really great job in coming back and simply saying to us, this is the feedback they're getting. 1, the staff felt that we were very transparent. 2, they realized it couldn't be easy. 3, they're happy to be in a job, right? So it was very positive things we got. We're still looking to make sure how we keep everybody engaged. In fact, this morning we had one of our virtual breakfast meetings where everybody comes and they talk. And what was lovely this morning was a bit of a game, which was you got to choose somebody who's on the chat and say, what is it you like about that person? So when you said that, then if you choose that person, then that person has to basically tell us what they like about, if somebody chose them or choose somebody else, but you had to choose somebody who was on the chat. So I thought it was really, really good of hearing what people liked about each other, etc. I think one person, I think she took it all and she said, honestly, I cannot say there's just one person I like. I just like everybody in this company. And I thought, wow, that's a bold statement, So it was fun. It just goes on for about an hour, between the hours 9 and 10. We tend to do that on the last day of the week. And because I guess we have a lot of young people, you really have to keep them very engaged. But we've been working from home since the 13th of March. And to be quite honest, the productivity has been extremely high. And I can tell that because I am the company nominator to quality control. Yeah. And therefore I see what's going in and out, the kind of work people are putting out and so on. And I really just have to stop and think what a great staff I have, which I do have. I'm grateful for.
Well, the common thread I am hearing from people as I've gone around the world and done this is they're getting so much more done from home.
Correct.
And realizing that at the end of this pandemic, they may want to continue to travel less and work from home more. It's amazing because a lot of times in the past, certain companies were thinking of allowing their staff to work from home. And the concern is that they wouldn't work, but this is definitely proving that you get more from your staff if they're home. Although you really need to congregate in the same building, I think that we're discovering how much more productive we are. And when you think about it, you don't have to get in a car and drive, which takes time. So from the time you get up, you start working and you just keep going. And that's what I do. I would imagine it's true for many other people. Sorry.
What I'm thinking is that you also got to be careful that you don't burn out. Okay. So I think having a routine is important of how you spend your day. Yes. So I get up in the morning. Yeah. I have to tell you, the first thing you need to do is really stop and give thanks. But in Trinidad, we are lucky in that we have Trinity Station, and our Archbishop says Mass every morning, and his preaching is phenomenal. So you have the rosary, then you have the Mass. And so I try to spend my day that way. I either might get breakfast before or maybe not, breakfast after, settle into your day. And then once you're in front of your computer, you're just going. So of course you take your breaks for your breakfast or your lunch. Well, lunch is kind of whatever hour. But then also I think is you gotta get some time when you actually exercise, because you're sitting here like behind the computer. So my gym instructor, she's been really lovely in terms of, we get on a WhatsApp and maybe 2 or 3 of us exercising at the same time. And she's looking at everybody and says, okay, Angela, hey, hold your head up. Okay, Angela, don't drop down yet. It's a plan going on and I hate plans. But, so you're doing that. And then I said, oh my God, well, I'm already in gym clothes. Let me go downstairs where I live and I just walk up and down the place maybe. But in order to sort of keep myself, to keep myself company, because of course it's distancing, it's also time to have your phone. So while I'm walking, I might be talking to somebody or whatever. So the time passes, you just have to find things that really work for you. But you have to find time, I think, for everything: the work, your God, your exercising about yourself, and just sometimes, as women, we got to find times. I don't have my manicurist or my pedicurist or whatever. I'll try and do that. I'll try and do a little bit of something that might help your face, to keep fit, whatever. But what I'm saying is you just have to try and fit things in as the case might be, Yeah.
Your breakfast meeting this morning, was it a virtual meeting?
Yeah, all our meetings are virtual.
Okay.
All our meetings are virtual.
Okay.
But also, I think in a time like this, what is good is innovation. So it's about how can you do things better? Are there new products and services that you can offer? And so we're already seeing that some of that we can do. And so therefore, it's a matter of refining it. It's also an opportunity, I think, because there's so much material going on out there. You can see opportunities and say, maybe I should just look into this and see if this is something we can't offer as a service, So you can't, and I guess because people aren't actually walking into your office every minute, you have a little bit more time to think the big way, think of the big things, think of what is important, because you're kind of almost, to some extent, more in control of your time. And it's a wonderful thing on the phone. If somebody calls you and you're busy, you can say, can't talk to you now. And that kind of puts it, that means ignoring the person, but at least, you're able to control yourself a bit more. And then the technology has made things move very fast. I mean, right now, I'm not looking at anything other than you. But generally, if I am, and because I'm talking to you, I'm on a Zoom meeting, and you know how we could take off our video?
Yes.
We can mute ourselves.
Yes.
So I could be talking to somebody on the phone and checking my WhatsApp. And I could also be reading my emails on my desktop. So, it's really a matter of, you become so much more efficient at using all the tools next to you. And believe you me, I am far from efficient. My IT person says, oh my God, I say, okay, Kevin, I'm sure you must probably upset. I have to go in to ask you this. Now, that's to just tell you how unsavvy I am, to tell you how funny it is. If I say, oh, but I solved my problem. I rebooted my computer. Oh my God, that sounds like a lot of knowledge. Mrs. I actually know to do that.
That's cute.
Yeah. So
you know, you do what you have to do. I know that I've slowly become an IT person by using YouTube tutorials, because when you have to do something, you can't bring an IT person to your home now. And so in order that you continue to do what you need it for, you just figure out a way to do it. And I've been surprising myself, and I'm sure a lot of other people are as well. Angela, what are your numbers like, your COVID numbers, in terms of people who are contaminated with the virus, and then the deaths to date?
Well, our deaths to date is just 8 people. But
Oh,
remember, we are a very small society in terms of the number of population is just really 1.3. So you really aren't talking about a lot of people.
right.
So what you'll find is that we have been, I would say our government has been pretty good in terms of keeping people informed. Almost every day there is a news report by the Ministry of Health. And then what we are seeing also is that the Prime Minister will come on and he would actually give us an update in relation to, I think, as things become more serious, or what action he wants people to take. So far we haven't really, I mean, testing I think is a big thing, and we've just tested about over 1,500 people.
Wow.
Yeah, which is small. The number of people we have positive is about 115 people. 8 have died, and we have had people who were in, but we have discharged 48 of those people as now being, negative. So I do think we're doing things. There's a lot of social distancing, a lot of legislation has been put out in terms of congregation. You can't congregate with more than 5 people. The police have actually been doing roadblocks, because why are people out? Most things are closed, and they found that a lot of people were just, again, like everything else, you have the few people who decide they have to drive out, and they've actually told them go back home. They don't really care what it is, but go back home. And what people are seeing, real thing is like the groceries, where again there's a special hour. So of course there's that senior citizens, which I will fall into, and
You had to add that, right?
and then there's a curbside. Pickup, which is being done by Massey stores, which I think is very, very good. What we are seeing now in today's papers is groceries are starting to go up, because of course what it is is supply and demand.
Right.
So that is happening. Of course, there are people who are really on the breadline and really, really don't have anything. So people have to be conscious. You really have to help society. So I mean, working with the Archbishop of Trinidad and Tobago, who's trying to have about 10,000 hampers monthly to feed the poor, and that really isn't a lot. So I think I'm trying to help. I mean, all of us are trying to help in terms of our connections, who we know,
Wonderful.
things, and I think we are getting through. We can't get everything we want, but if you get a little bit here, it all adds up. I think the fundamental is people have to be generous, and generous obviously within their means, and everybody means are different. But I think generally Trinidadians are very generous people.
Well, Trinidad is a nation of very happy people. So
Sure.
I would imagine that even a virus like the corona is not going to kill their spirit. But I know it's an island and people are used to being outside and being on the beach. So the confinement must be tough, especially for people living in small spaces with a lot of children. But for the most part, you think that the people are being compliant?
I would say for the most part, and I think government has been changing the regulations as they see things in order to ensure that there's distancing. So, originally, let's say it was 10 people to a crowd, they've now 5, and they're shortening hours in certain things, like what they were seeing, like I think in hardware stores, which you were able to, again, there was congregation, and it may not be essentials, total essentials that people are going for. People saying they want to paint the house. What is that essential? That's not essential. So they've They've lowered the hours for hardwares. And I really do think they're doing a good job. I can't say that it's perfect, but
Right.
it's pretty good.
I would
And that is
imagine it's hard for it to be perfect in any country because this came out of nowhere. And it's not like most countries had systems in place to deal with it.
Yep.
So that's probably the most challenging part of handling this corona.
But I certainly think it will not be business. It's not business as usual now. It certainly will not be business as usual after this. I think what is going to happen, just one second. What we have to consider is the fact that people, I think, are much more conscious now in terms of they're all looking at things differently. They're all really thinking a bit more out of the box, and you have to do that. I mean, I would be honest, I don't think I have an office in Chase and I have an office in Port of Spain. Chase being more sort of Eastern Central. I've already told the landlord, I think I just want half my space, and I'm sitting down thinking, well, I'm not even sure I want the space, okay? So again, in Port of Spain, we have 2 offices, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, I could see people be working a lot more from home. So what you really need are just like hot desks, people to come in if they need to come in on something. You will congregate to some extent. And I'm thinking, well, why do I need 2 buildings? I probably just need 1. So now you need to sit down and think, well, we're going to do the other building, you know? Yeah. So I think people are just beginning to relook at everything to do. And really you have to look at your money, what you have now, what are the essentials? The essentials has to be food. The essential may be that you have children with school fees, you know, but other than that, what else could be said? I mean, of course, you have utilities to pay. They haven't given us any break on the utilities. But we have to be conscious that a lot of people are also out of job. So even though you might be in a job with a reduced salary, your significant other may not be in a job because of what they do. For example, Prestige Holdings, on which I sit on a board, is a public company with only 5 franchises, Subway, TGI Friday, Pizza Hut, KFC, and Subway, as I mentioned, right? TGI Friday, and Starbucks. Now, we're closed because the government has closed this down. Do you realize how many people will be out of work? I mean, and we're just one. So there are many chains of food. So, you know, you have to look at how do you now help the very vulnerable part of our society, because it is going to be tough for some people, really tough. For some of us, it may not be so tough. I mean, all I'm buying is groceries now, nothing else at all. Well, certainly not going out unless it's absolutely necessary. So, you know, you don't have entertainment. You shouldn't have money to spend gas on a car. So, you know, when you sort of sit down and think, really? And if you don't need to use your lights, don't use it. Okay.
So, but your government has programs in place to help those people, like working at McDonald's and Kentucky Fried in those places.
Well, the government has actually given support for people in terms, once you're earning less than $10,000, they would give you $1,500 a month. They will also give you $2,500 towards rent, and I think there's one other thing they give you. So basically, they have been plus also there are benefits under the National Insurance Board, and the banks have been pretty good in terms they have facilitated deferral of loans for a minimum of 3 months into the 6 months, and they're willing to therefore take that loan that you have and extend it for 6 months. So, but of course, they're not going to forgo the interest, but they will capitalize they will add the interest onto your loan at the end of the 6 months, which I think is, you know, it's not bad. It means if you have a loan, you're not going to be paying any loans right now. So it does help with the cash flow, because, you know, in a time like this, cash is king, nothing else.
Exactly. That's so true. But you know what I've noticed in doing these interviews, the countries in the Caribbean and South America, their numbers are really low compared to US and Europe. And I wonder why that is, because some people may say that those countries are like Trinidad and Guyana. The population is really small, but to me, it's all relative. And I just read that St. Lucia did not have any deaths, and all of the
Correct.
positive patients are recovered. So
Mhm.
what are they doing out there that needs to be done out here in the United States and in Europe? What do you think it is? Why do you think that's true?
I think a lot has to do with the timing of your decisions. I think one of the things that Trinidad immediately really did and has pursued vigorously is the aspect of social distancing.
Right.
We have closed our borders, which I think is really important, because out of many of the cases that had got the virus, most of them came from a cruise coming into this country, coming from abroad. And the majority of our cases are from coming into the country. So I think closing the borders was important in terms of you limited the amount of people who could bring in the virus. Also the fact that we immediately legislated for many things that was considered what was considered essential services. Non-essential services were requested to stay at home. The fine to actually come out on the road was $50,000 a person plus imprisonment.
Are you
So
serious?
I am telling you, I told my staff, if you go out, because I had to give letters because we were doing payrolls.
Oh my goodness.
If you go out on that road and I do not have authority that you should go out, I am not paying you $50,000. Let me be very clear about that. However, in light of what we were doing, we got special, we pushed, we lobbied, and eventually we got the permission, because I said, well, we have to pay taxes, and so the government don't want their money, well, that's okay. But they have not told us they don't want their money. So of course we got a Blythe, which basically said, yes, if you had to make these payments to statutory bodies and so on, and if you needed to go in your office to be able to get the information to be able to do it, yes, you are allowed. So I had to make sure that my staff had the letter, and that was what and the other thing is to essential services was financial services and energy companies. And we do work for both. So what we also got is letters from those respective companies, so which we outsource, to indicate that we were working for them. So in other words, you had two pieces of information, which you one from us, the company, and the other from the company to which you outsource, which was an essential service. But I really did think the government put out a lot of legislation and blocked a lot of activity to make sure that people were not on the road, right? So I mean, you'll get criticized for everything, no matter what you do. But I think they've been keeping the country in touch. I mean, every day we get an update from the Minister of Health, the CMO, and then the Prime Minister will also come, and there's key things that he wants to indicate to people, and that is done.
That is a common thread that I've heard in the Caribbean. I'm very proud to say I'm a West Indian woman. I'm a Guyanese. I'm really impressed with how our governments have been handling this. And I hear people here complaining all the time about being quarantined. And I wish they could watch these videos, because they would see the benefit of doing it. Our numbers are skyrocketing, and they're still complaining, and they're wanting to go back out. To me, it's such I know the economy is suffering, and I know it's not comfortable for some people, but it's worth it if we can save lives and protect ourselves. So why are people so resistant to it? I know people have a difficult time with change, but this is not an elective thing. We have to do it, because this virus is brutal, and it will take down everything in its path if you're not strong enough. So I'm very proud of how your government is handling it. I spoke with someone in St. Lucia, and she told me the same thing. I spoke with someone in Antigua. They told me the same thing. And the numbers are all low there. And I'm really grateful, because I know that some of these countries practice third world medicine, and God forbid, the cases were higher, I think they would have had a lot more fatalities. So it's a good thing you guys were proactive and did the right thing early in the game. What does Angela learn from this experience about Angela?
Well, what Angela has learned about Angela is, first of all, I think you have to prioritize what is important. So I think lives are important. That is why you have to do what you have to do. I think, how do you help the vulnerable and how you can do that? So you really have to search within yourself what really are the important things in life. In my case, where I have people working for me, is what it is I have to do to make the company sustainable. But at the same time, I need to make sure I'm okay. Because if I'm not okay, there are implications for that. So it means balancing yourself. Let me tell you, I find in this situation, you spend more time praying because you need to pray.
Yes.
You can't do anything by yourself. You have to get whatever ideas you have to get. It have to come from somewhere above, right? So everything is from above, and it is that consciousness. And I am extremely grateful that I have an archbishop that gives a sermon every day that really, really, really is excellent. So he fills me so that I can hopefully have what is required to maybe to go forward.
How many people do you have working in your company?
Well, I have between all of them maybe about 130 people.
That's a lot of people.
Yes, that's why I have to take what I do very seriously.
Yes.
That's 130 people's livelihood.
Well, God bless you that you're even thinking about them. A lot of small companies and a lot of companies can't or just are only looking out for themselves. But one of the things, Angela, why I wanted to include you in this series is I remember meeting you and you leaving an indelible mark. We had a conversation and I thought, what a beautiful person. What a great human being. And so I'm very happy that I had the opportunity to meet you and now share you with my viewers and my friends. But before we go, what would you like to leave with my viewers that I have not asked you?
Okay, what you have not asked me. Well, you asked me a lot of questions to begin with. I think one of the things that really gives me a lot of energy, I'll be honest, and I've been spending more time recently doing, is really looking at the big picture of how we get involved in helping our country. So many things I'm involved in, on some chats, and we are involved in, of how do we help this country. And the areas that I'm involved in is the small and medium-sized enterprises. What it is we need to do to stimulate the economy for these small and medium-sized enterprises, which makes up the majority of your economy. The other one, in light of what you're seeing, food security is going to be key. So to what extent are we able, within the Caribbean, and I now will speak specifically of Trinidad, deal with food security? I mean, I've been telling my staff, anybody who has a piece of land, doesn't matter what you have, you could actually grow something in a box. So we need to do that, and we build barter. So if you're selling pak choy, and I have pigeon peas, or tomatoes, whatever, we might have to barter because we may not have cash, but we can barter in value. And so this is something I'm encouraging all my staff. And when I hear so many things that some of them are doing, I just thought, oh my gosh, it's fantastic. So that's that. The other one is education. As you know, all the schools right now are closed.
Mm-hmm.
How do we make sure that our children are engaged and learning? So again, we are on another chat where we are looking at education, of course, being digital. So we are working with the Archbishop again, who is looking to go through all the Roman Catholic schools, the Anglican schools, and through the IRO of developing getting the technology in the first place, because some people just don't have laptops and whatever. So she's been begging for that. So we're looking to see how we can even get that to all the school children. We have already spoken like to Digicel and Flow and B-Mobile about giving internet connection free to some regions which don't have it, to be able to make sure children have that connection. And what it is right now is the technology teachers are training the teachers who do not have technology experience. So it's just fantastic when I sit in on some of these talks to see how things are happening. So it is agriculture, there is education, the other area, SME, and the other one we are on is technology. How do we get technology digitally here, move it to the next level? We're looking at building fintech industry. So these are the things which takes up, to be quite honest, a fair amount of my time, because running the companies, to be quite honest, I have very capable people to run it, okay? But now this is really moving to the next side. This is really the contribution at the country level, which is important.
All the time, so I'll let you tell me quickly. It's amazing how quickly the time flies.
No, so that's it.
Oh, okay. Well, Angela, this was so great sharing this time with you. I am pretty sure people love this interview, and hopefully they'll gather some inspiration from what you've shared. And again, I'm very grateful to you. I know you're a busy entrepreneur.
Okay, can I say something to you about that word busy? Can I say something about that word busy?
Yeah.
I always have things to do, but that doesn't mean to say I'm so busy somebody can't get in touch with me. So my answer would be to you. Have you ever called me and I did not reply? Have you ever sent me an email I did not reply? Have you ever asked to see me and I didn't see you? So my answer to you now, you see how unbusy I am?
I love it. Perfect note to end on. Thank you so much, Angela, and thank you for watching Conversations with Jennylyn, when a conversation is all you need to be inspired, like this one. Thank you so much, Angela. We'll be in touch, and enjoy the rest of your day.